What is up, fellow benchwarmers? Welcome to another weekly episode of Fantasy Benchwarmers. And for this week, as we promised, we'll talk about the free agency. It's been 1 week since the free agent signings have started. Almost 1 week kasi we started Monday or Tuesday, parang ganyan. And a lot happened already in those past few days. Of course, I am your host, JJT, and with us, Tomish.
Yes,
Tomish,
guys.
exciting first week.
Oo.
Actually, halos wala na natira eh. I think there are a few players that we've been waiting for. Even Kawhi yata has re-signed already with the Clippers. So, I think the big names are already off the free agent list.
I feel like we have gone full circle. Kasi ECQ na naman eh. Nagsimula tayo sa ECQ.
Mula tayo sa ECQ, and at that time it was the end of the nag-postpone ng ang NBA ngayon. Malapit na ulit mag-restart ang NBA and ECQ ulit. Pero I hope everyone's safe. I mean, as we do this episode, as you listen to this episode. So today we'll talk about the East first para hindi magulo or hindi tayo patalon-talon to different teams. We'll go through each team in the East and talk about sino ba yung mga fantasy winners and losers with the recent signings. Nothing's final. Disclaimer lang because, summer leagues going on. Some teams are gonna fill out some of their roster spots, and then may mga free agents pa na like players like Dennis Schroeder na could still have fantasy impact in some teams, diba? So, sino pa ba yung mga hindi sign? Sino pa ba yung mga wala pang teams? Na big
si Lowry Markkanen.
Ayan, Lowry Markkanen, Dennis
Schroeder. Yun na lang eh.
Yun na yung mga major names that used to have fantasy impact, and then ngayon hindi natin sure kung ano yung magiging fantasy impact nila with their new teams. Or will they still be in the NBA?
Hindi, yun naman.
Malay mo mag-overseas na lang, baka mas malaki pa yung matanggap nila.
Si Dennis Schroeder, looking at the remaining teams, I think possible Boston, I think would be possible.
Okay, so Boston ang isang rumored Pero let's go through the East. Okay, so alphabetical na lang. Atlanta's new acquisitions, Delon Wright and Gorgui Dieng. Actually, of these two, siguro Delon Wright has the most fantasy value last year. What's your take here? Wala na.
I think,
undraftable.
No. Both of them are not draftable in my opinion. Yun nga lang, Atlanta became deeper pa. Lalo pang lumalim eh. I mean, they have Delon. Lou Williams came back. Na-resign si Lou Williams. John Collins. Everybody's basically back as of now. As of currently, we are recording this. Wala pang trade ng Atlanta. So, Chris Dunn nang nawala. But now they get Delon Wright. So, I think mahihirapan sa...
Probably an upgrade pa nga from Chris Dunn. And it's very deep guard rotation.
And they got two rookies na were very got high marks from the draft experts. Si Jalen Johnson and Sharif Cooper. Tong Sharif Cooper na to,
favorite medyo... Yan yung sinabi ni AJ Velasco na gusto niyang pick ng Atlanta.
Itong Sharif Cooper, undersized point guard na was a projected top 10 pick start ng season. Dropped because of his height. Medyo lumiit. Maliit siya. Hindi lumiit. Maliit siya. So parang, nakakatawa is he's being compared to Trae Young. Yung stats niya ng college.
Undersized guard.
Yung stats niya ng college is Trae Young. Pero magaling to. So isipin mo, they have this guy backing up Trae Young. They have Delon Wright. And then, their wings, alam naman natin how loaded their wings are. Tapos nagdagdag pa sila ng Jalen Johnson, which is another top 5 projected pick na nag-drop din. Pero sobrang talented. Reminds me of John Collins. Reminds me of Lamar Odom. He's very versatile for a big man. So, si Gorgui Dieng, maybe he'll get a few minutes here and there dahil si Okongwu is
injured.
Out for, but I don't think he's gonna be relevant considering gaano kalalim tong Atlanta na to.
Yeah. And they don't necessarily have to play big yung Atlanta rin. So I think Dieng would be out. Pero I think question ko, Delon Wright, what is Dillon Wright, so sabi mo undraftable in deeper leagues maybe, is he still valuable, more valuable than maybe Lou Williams?
He's a big loser, no? Kung si Dillon Wright. He's one of the biggest losers itong FA. If he's draftable kahit sa 14 teams, I might not gamble. Because there's no upside eh. There's no upside. Di ba? Alam naman natin tong si Dillon Wright kung ano yung problema eh. So, I might not
Stay away.
Gamble.
Stay away muna unless something happens to Dillon Wright. All right. Boston's new acquisitions, Enes Kanter, Josh Richardson, and of course Al Horford, dating way back to last season pa. Diba? So, ito interesting kasi they have Enes Kanter, they have Al Horford, they also have Robert Williams.
Yeah.
They lose si Tristan Thompson. That center rotation would be mukhang ano na naman, it will be another log jam and parang headache for fantasy owners, just like last season.
I feel na I have a feeling na si Horford will start at the 4, at the power forward position. Feeling ko and I think Robert Williams and Enes Kanter will be the 5. Kasi mahilig din naman sila sa bigs eh. So I think they wanted to go bigger. I think Tatum will play will probably start at small forward. He will play some power forward also. Pero mukhang ganun na mangyayari.
So among these centers, all these centers last year, siguro maybe with the exception of Horford kasi hindi talaga siya naglaro eh. But when playing, all these centers produced. Si Kanter produced. Robert Williams, you all know, produced. Al Horford did not play much, but he produced well when he played.
Yes.
Among these Boston centers, who is the most, the one that you should own? Siguro rank na lang natin 1, 2, 3 in terms of
I go Robert Williams, Al Horford, and Enes Kanter.
Okay.
So that's my and
projection. Al Horford, sure naman tayo in a 14 team si Robert Williams makukuha yan, and even maybe in a 12 team. Yes. Al Horford, is he draftable in a 14 team?
He is. Remember last year with OKC, he was good. He was okay.
Yeah, he was.
Not the Al Horford of before, pero he was okay. Hindi naman ganun kasama. But the problem was he was shut down. Pero with Boston, I don't think that will happen. And last year he was picked, I remember it correctly, nasa 90 plus na nga siya napipick eh. 90 to 100. Nasa turn siya ng 100 pick eh. So I think kung bumaba pa siya dyan because of what happened last year, I think he's okay. Kung nasa mga 120 siya, 120.
Worth the risk.
110, 120, I think is worth the risk. Because as I said, I think he's gonna start at power forward.
Kanter at the Kanter in a 12 team, is he worth owning? Or wait na lang kasi Kanter's always been the player na you wait to see, don't draft him, you wait to see what happens. Like last year, not many drafted him naman eh.
Yes. I can see Kanter being relevant in fantasy this coming season. But I do not know kailan yon. Kasi yun nga, or Horford is old, so injury prone din yan. Robert Williams is very injury prone. So kahit sabihin mo tatlo yan, and easy injury or two, magkaka-value si Kanter eh. So is that draftable? Ako, I'd like to draft kasi mga mas may upside sa latter part eh.
Okay.
So si Kanter, you'll have to bet on an injury to be draftable for me.
Yeah, and
so,
ito rin kasi Kanter was Boston before pero hindi rin siya. Again, the only team where Kanter was really fantasy relevant sa Portland lang talaga eh.
Yes.
Yun lang yung team that really used him and used him well. Sa other teams he has been, wala eh. Hindi talaga siya masyadong nagagamit well enough.
Tama.
So
dito sa Boston, actually yung biggest winner dito si Marcus Smart. As of now, wala si Kemba, wala si Fournier. They don't have any other point guard.
Ayun naman tayo kay Marcus Smart.
but Marcus Smart has always, we know what we will get from Marcus Smart naman eh. Yung field goal, steady ball, pero everything else naman, kaya siya sa top 80. Kasi the other parts of his game naman makes up for the poor field goal shooting.
Yeah, solid.
And now that there's no point guard right now, aside from him, Peyton Pritchard will probably be his backup. I think sobrang solid ni ni Marcus Smart. He's one of the biggest winner. Ang problem, I think, I'm still betting Dennis Schroeder will come over. He will be signed probably a 1-year mid-level deal or something. So pag dumating si Schroeder, then that will,
change everything.
Put Smart down a little bit. Pero for me, winner pa rin kahit nandiyan si Schroeder.
Yeah, I mean, with Schroeder there, ano pa rin, maybe not really a winner, pero still fantasy relevant. I mean, top 100 easy for Smart.
Top 80. For me, top 80.
Yeah.
Top 80.
Naging safe lang ako, baka lumagpas eh. Baka lumayo eh. Pero Josh Richardson, pag-usapan natin Josh Richardson a bit, definitely, medyo off the bench role na to, backing up either Tatum or maybe Marcus Smart or Jaylen Brown, diba? So, not rosterable for you. Ako stay away na rin ako kay Josh Richardson.
Not at the start of the season. Yeah, he has the potential. We've seen that in Miami, nung nandun pa siya sa Miami.
Pero wala na, that's been ages?
Yeah, but you have to you can't gamble on that. You let him prove it to you, then pick him up. Mauna ka na lang sa pick up, diba?
Yung Miami days niya, it's been 2 teams ago?
Hindi, before the Dallas, diba, Miami?
Di ba Philly?
Philly. But yung Philly niya was not bad also. Was okay lang.
Was not Miami. Hindi Miami.
Okay lang, but hindi yung kasing bad nitong Dallas, the last Dallas. Yeah. So he's not somebody I'm excited to draft or to own right away, right now.
Alright. So ako rin, hindi rin ako masyadong fan na ni Josh Richardson after the Miami days. Alright, Brooklyn. Let's move on to Brooklyn. James Johnson, Patty Mills, Bruce Brown, and Blake Griffin. Si Bruce Brown actually returnee, pero siguro may konting fantasy value pa rin si Bruce Brown. Maybe at the latter part.
Maybe
waiver, ad drop. Pero interesting would be Patty Mills siguro kasi Patty Mills was on a 6-man role, pero last year he was rosterable kasi because of the 3-point shooting niya. He's 3-point specialist, diba? And this Olympics, nagpakitang gila si Patty Mills. So sure ako, maraming will keep an eye on Patty Mills.
Patty Mills for me is Patty Mills. You know what you will get? 3 points. Basically 3-point shooting. Yung mga specialist na yan, okay yan at the end of the draft to round up your team. Kunwari, kulang ka sa 3 points to get him. Pero this is not a win for Patty Mills if everybody's healthy. If Harden is healthy.
Lahat naman any player siguro sa Brooklyn, any player that comes in is not really a win for you fantasy-wise.
Well, you can say that on paper, pero alam mo naman si Kyrie, alam mo naman ang history ni Kyrie. So,
sabagay, tsaka baka KD medyo magpahinga-pahinga or cruise along lang kasi kakagaling lang sa Olympics, diba?
Pero we're gonna be talking about these things as if everybody's gonna be healthy. Siyempre, hindi mo natin pwede hulaan ni injuries. Diba?
Hindi. Tsaka right now naman, wala namang long-term injury.
Unless si Kevin Love yan.
Si Kevin Love wants to be, parang mukhang aalis na ng Cleveland, diba?
So hindi. Unless na ganun, wala tayong masasabing sure injured. Pero, Patty Mills will have value dun sa mga weeks na wala si Kyrie, which will happen. And we will talk about it pag nangyari na. So we have to take note lang sa pangalan niya sa Brooklyn. Pag injured si Harden, injured si Kyrie, Patty Mills will be the biggest beneficiary there.
Blake Griffin, favorite natin.
Yeah, he's okay. He's okay.
Worth the draft pick ba? Obviously, mga 120 out siguro.
Pwede. For me, Blake Griffin kasi maganda yung maganda
yung
role niya sa Brooklyn, yung chemistry with the team. And then he gives them something na DeAndre cannot give them, or even Claxton. So parang meron siyang niche sa Brooklyn. So maybe the last 2 picks of your team, gusto mo si Blake Griffin? Pwede, pero ako personally hindi rin. Hindi ko rin draft. Pero if you want him, I can see why naman.
Yeah. Okay, move on tayo to Charlotte. Kasi Brooklyn naman is not really a fantasy.
Ito, Charlotte, maganda pag-usapan.
Ang Brooklyn, hindi naman talaga fantasy destination. Parang, other than the big three, parang the rest, baka waiver pick up na lang yan, or the last draft pick mo, or last pick. Charlotte would be interesting kasi they signed 2 major players. Well, major in the sense that these are contributors. kaagad, diba? Or last year, Mason Plumlee and Kelly Oubre. Last year, maraming na-disappoint with Oubre because of how he started and how he ended. In the middle, medyo okay. You know? Mason Plumlee naman, maraming na-surprise kay Mason Plumlee. Ngayon, ang tanong, Mason Plumlee, can he do what he did in in Detroit?
Noong una, I said yes. Di ba, nung nag-usap tayo last time dun sa draft data nun eh. Kasi yun yung trade eh. It would happen during the draft. Pero now that everything's settling down, medyo malaking losers ang mga incumbent players ng Charlotte, in my opinion. Kasi if you look at it, yeah, they lost Devontae Graham, but they still have LaMelo and Terry Rozier. Diba? But their wings, now they have Miles Bridges, they have Gordon Hayward, they have PJ Washington. Now they have Kelly Oubre pa. Yeah. So sobrang lalim nun. Sobrang lalim nung lineup na yun. And which you would think na si PJ Washington would probably be switched to the 5. Where Mason Plumlee
is. Where he played
very well.
Very well last year.
So yun.
Pero that's interesting kasi if titingnan mo, the Hornets don't have a center anymore.
Si Plumlee tsaka si Kai Jones.
Yun nga. Plumlee na lang, and maybe they could use Washington at the center, which they did last year, as we said.
Yes, but that means that yung pagka-excited ko for Plumlee, na feeling ko, mukhang he can replicate his role here in Charlotte. Mukhang hindi. Kasi, as you said before, LaMelo will have the ball in his hand eh.
Yeah, and Rozier.
Tapos kung hindi, Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward. So basically, magiging rebounder kind of guy na lang to eh. Not like sa Detroit, he was really helping out with the playmaking, high post, and all those things. Baka mas konti.
Most likely, they'll do what they did last year. They start a center and then once na, tapos na yung second unit na it will be PJ Washington at the center. Kasi ganun ginagawa nila before, diba? They start a center, either Zeller or Biombo, and then later on, magsuslide na si PJ Washington. Pero how high are you willing to take Plumlee? Last year, medyo surprising yung niya.
Baka outside 100 din. Outside
100 na rin.
Outside
how
100
about Oubre?
Ayoko si Oubre kasi yun nga.
So among the wings, Oubre, of course, Hayward, sure yan, di ba? Oubre, Miles ka.
Miles Bridges ako. Last year, Miles had a very underrated season.
Actually,
Especially
a lot of I think a lot of teams won with Miles Bridges kasi towards the end, talagang humataw siya.
Even before, if you're playing Roto, I think Miles Bridges is one of the players that really was a hero for you. Kasi sa percentages eh. So, for me, bump down a little bit with Kelly Oubre coming in. Kasi, they signed Kelly Oubre to a $13 million deal per year for 2 years eh. So, may investment eh. Kaya, itong tip ko lang for fantasy managers, kailangan nyo rin malaman kung magkano yung contract ng mga players. Kasi that has an effect sa rotation.
Of course, the higher the contract is, the more you would say na lalaruin to.
Because the general manager was the one who gave the contract. So, you as a coach, you have to make your general manager look good. Hindi mo pwede bangkuin yung isang $13 million a year.
Today, away yan. Gulo yan within the organization.
So medyo down ako kay Miles. Medyo down ako kay Kelly Oubre. Even PJ Washington, medyo down din ako.
Okay, so sila yung medyo losers here in this move. Fantasy losers in this move.
Yes.
PJ Washington. The wings, actually.
The wings.
Ay siguro pinaka-safest lang dito, LaMelo, Rozier, and Hayward.
Yes.
Yan na yung pinaka-safest role and safest to draft and most likely will be drafted. Diba?
Yes.
It will also be interesting how players would take Rozier. Pero siguro that's a later conversation, yung mga existing players. Kasi Rozier finished what? Top 40? Top 50?
Top 40 siguro. Let's say top 40. So
diba?
medyo tingnan natin next year.
Tingnan natin sa mga mock drafts kung saan yan makukuha si Rozier. Chicago, ito. Exciting. Follower natin, Joseph Crisostomo, has been excited. Nag-message siya sa akin because of the Chicago moves. Lonzo Ball, DeMar Derozan are the new additions. Alex Caruso and Tony Bradley. Yan yung mga new additions. So far, wala na si Markkanen. Garrett Temple. Wala pa, but so far wala pa siya sa roster. Garrett Temple is out. Tad Young is out. Diba? Tad Young was a rosterable player last year for the most part of the season. Diba? So, winners here. Fantasy winners.
Lonzo Ball. Lonzo Ball is a fantasy winner. For me, the fit isn't the best. Pero yung feeling ko, the investment of the Bulls plus yung career ni Lonzo is prime for a breakout. I think he will get his starting position. He's safe as a starter at point guard, and he's the winner for me here.
Demar is a loser.
Yeah, he's a loser. Actually, I don't like what the Bulls did, to be honest.
Weird yung Demar Yung Demar really was kind of a weird move
And they signed him for $26 million or $28 million a year. Hindi siya yung tipong $10 or $15 million. And they gave up Tad Young. I would actually prefer Tad Young with this team than Demar Derozan. Than signing Demar Derozan for 27 or 28 million. That's a lot of money. Sobrang laking investment.
And a lot of siguro observers or casual fans are really questioning yung magiging defense na itong Chicago team in the real basketball sense because they might be good sa wings as with Lonzo, Caruso, hide a little bit si Lavine in terms of the defense pero sa upfront medyo manipis. But they signed Tony Bradley, so that's a good addition.
Yeah, but the Bulls actually one of the teams that still has a lot of roster spots available. So medyo influx pa tong team na to Pero makikita mo na yung core ng rotation. Yeah. I think Derozan, they're saying Derozan will start at the power forward position, which is what he was playing with San Antonio last year. Kumbaga siya yung papalit kay Tad Young which is as you said, medyo maliit. Medyo maliit
and he's not a natural power forward unlike Tad Young.
And with San Antonio last year, kaya siya nag-work kasi assist niya, di ba? Sobrang tumaas last year, di ba? He was a point forward, di ba? Nag-sign ka na Lonzo Ball for 21 million a year. May Lavine wants the ball in his hand din. Tapos even Vucevic din, kahit paano, may playmaking capabilities at the center. So, how would they all
Everyone needs the ball actually.
Yes, so hindi ko type itong lineup. Pero a loser here, Kobe White. Kobe White's a big loser.
Oo, kasi ano na no? Ang lalim na ng guard rotation na even baka malamangan pa sa ni Alex Caruso in the guard position.
And injured siya di ba? As far as I
when the season ended, injured siya. Pero
he can't be back. He won't be back for the start of the season as far as I know.
Baka din that affected the decision making of Chicago. So yun, Cleveland made no moves, so wala tayong
Rubio.
Pero napag-usapan na natin last time, Ricky Rubio. They re-signed Jarrett Allen for a very, very big deal. I think overpaid masyado si Jarrett
Allen.
100 million, grabe. I don't think
sabi nga pag centers na ganyan, you don't need to pay them that much kasi they're everywhere. Daniel Gafford lang Nerlens Noel.
Even last year, he was a disappointment, di ba? Maraming nagsabi na pag nalipat siya sa Cleveland, he'll be performing. Kahit na huwag na natin pag-usapan yung fantasy sense, di ba? Kasi fantasy-wise, he was a disappointment when he moved to Cleveland. Marami nag-expect, mga first round value pero hindi Sobrang disappointment di ba? But, so I think, overpaid center that you will regret. But, Jarrett Allen, of course, will be drafted naman yan in fantasy basketball. So, most likely, he will accumulate the stats. Detroit made a move for Kelly Olynyk. Kelly Olynyk,
okay. So,
will replace Mason Plumlee. So, most likely, ganun yun yung nakikita ko. That's the role he would play. So, baka
But I think he's... No. I think he's a loser, si Kelly Olynyk. Coming from Houston,
coming from Houston, loser.
Loser talaga. I mean, dun tayo magbabase kasi naalala natin di ba? Yung Houston performance niya na sobrang ganda ng performance. Coming from there, I don't know if I want to draft him. I don't know if I want to draft him.
Baka
To be
bumalik na
honest,
siya dun sa level,
Miami.
yung Miami Olynyk na you draft him maybe at the last few rounds to take a flyer kasi he's
Yeah.
a decent player. Or you wait for someone to drop kasi baka early on he won't. Pero I think early on gagawa to eh.
Let's see.
Early on kasi, di ba? Early on, tandaan natin, when the start of the season, mga stats ng mga players are medyo bloated. Yung mga
Pero si
stats,
Olynyk, kaya kasi very streaky. Very streaky eh. Di ko alam kung paano siya simula. Basta magkakaroon niya ng parang isang stretch na parang
na may value.
Oo, may value. Pero alam na
Not
natin,
not the Houston value.
Pwede for 3 to 4 games, pwedeng ganun eh. Di ba? Minsan ganun yan eh. Lagi yan sa FA, tapos makita mo, 20 plus points si Olynyk, pick up ko nga. Pag pick up mo after 2 games, wala
na.
So I think that will be basically what will happen to him in Detroit.
Okay, so among the current players ng Detroit, wala namang loser dyan eh. No? Kasi,
Josh Jackson is a big loser. He's still there in Detroit.
Pero kasi the addition of Cade.
Yeah, with Cade there. And Jeremy is still there. So
Jeremy Grant, yes.
Babalik si Jeremy.
Sure yan, maggagawa ulit yan early in the season. Jeremy Grant. Kasi hindi siya nakalaro sa Olympics eh. Hindi siya masyado nakalaro eh.
Nagawa yan.
Nag-roster lang, babawi, papakita niya na worth siya ipasok, di ba? Miami, ito na.
Okay.
One of the biggest, in the real basketball sense, do you think they're the biggest winners in this free agency?
Yes, I think so. I mean, based on the fit of the players they got, for the next season, I think they're the winners. But for the long run, hindi ko alam. Kasi matatanda na yan.
Hindi. I don't think they signed these players for the long run. I think they're on the win now mood. Lowry's 36? I think he signed a 2-year deal lang naman yata.
Lowry's 35. Tucker is 37.
Yeah.
And then Oladipo is coming off, of course, an injury. We don't know if he's gonna play or not. So
they re-signed him, di ba?
Yes, they re-signed him.
Minimum.
Then Markieff Morris is what, 32, 33? Parang
gano'n. Yan.
So
tapos siyempre si Dedmond medyo matanda.
Siyempre si Haslem, di magpapahuli yan.
Naka-roster pa pala si Haslem next year.
Siyempre si Haslem parang Mark Kagiwa yan eh.
Hindi si Haslem ang Jared Dudley ng Miami. A glue guy. Biggest fantasy winner here.
A lot of people do not like Miami players because they say na Lowry came in. So ayaw na niya si Butler, ayaw si Adebayo. Ako baliktad. I think itong tatlo feeling ko winners tong tatlo for me.
Butler, Lowry, and Adebayo.
Yes. Feeling ko winner. Kasi unang-una medyo numipis yung bench ng Miami.
Yeah. Wala si Precious. Yeah.
Tapos fit silang tatlo eh. Si Adebayo, I mean, wala namang big isang Miami eh. PJ Tucker is not a big. I mean, he's not a big.
Sino ba backup nila last year? Center. Wala.
Kasi they traded Olynyk eh.
Yeah.
Di ba? Tapos ngayon, si Achua na wala rin.
Yeah.
So I think Adebayo will still get the minutes that he's been getting.
Okay, so there was a question dun sa group natin, if Adebayo, where do you pick Adebayo?
I said second round. Everybody said late second, early third. But I'm still.
You're willing to pick him early second round.
Yeah.
16, Adebayo over Ayton.
Yeah, Adebayo over Ayton.
Over Collins.
Over Collins, yes.
Okay.
Adebayo over Collins.
So yun, Adebayo pa rin. Kasi high upside talaga Adebayo eh.
And then look at the Olympic performance of Adebayo. Grabe yung performance. He was one of the MVPs for me itong Olympics for the USA team. Yeah. And that's a team na has Durant, has Lillard, has Tatum. Pero he can find his role eh.
Hindi, kasi very versatile talaga.
Yes.
He's like the taller version ni Draymond.
Better offensive version ni Draymond.
Yeah, better and then taller, bigger.
Yes.
Diba? Bigger siya, better. He can pass rin, he can defend, he can score. Yun yung lamang niya ngayon kay Draymond. But except for the 3-point shooting, siguro mas lamang pa ng konti si Draymond. But
pero last year, he was taking them already.
Yeah, so we'll see this year kung ma-expand yung game niya.
Last year.
So who's the biggest loser here in Miami?
Among the, for me, wala ako masyadong nakikitang losers talaga. Kasi si Duncan Robinson, I think, is also perfect for this team eh. Kasi the shooting, he's still gonna be there. So, if you will say talagang yung medyo a little bit, maybe Butler. Kasi Lowry could get a little bit of his stats. Pero not that big, in my opinion. Not that big of a effect.
Yung Golden Boy, Tyler Hero.
Well, medyo na ako kay Tyler Hero eh. Kung gusto niya siya kunin, then good for you. Wala na akong
Pero
but kung pogi lang pag-uusapan, mamaya mapag-uusapan na si Kyle Kuzma. Doon na lang tayo sa
better yon.
Better. Mas pogi rin in my opinion.
Milwaukee, let's move on to Milwaukee. Rodney Hood, Grayson Allen, Semi Ojeleye, saka George Hill. So they removed PJ Tucker. Grayson Allen, among these, si Grayson Allen lang yata yung medyo serviceable last year in terms of fantasy. This year, wala na rin. Wala lalim kasi ng I think, real basketball sense, they're still deep. They're still better. I think, over Miami, I think they're still better.
They're the defending champions. They're better.
Yeah.
I mean, iba pa rin pag champion ka eh. Diba?
Saka if you look at man per man lang eh. I mean, Drew is better than Kyle Lowry. Maybe Butler and Chris Middleton baka break even na lang eh. And of course, Giannis is better than Bam.
Yeah.
Diba? So, overall, I think they're still better. Then they have Brook pa. So, basketball sense, they're still
in
better.
Fantasy, Milwaukee is very easy to read. Basically, the top three, the big three. Si Donte DiVincenzo, we don't know his injury, how bad it is. Will he be ready for the training camp? So we have to wait for that. So pending that, Brook Lopez is, alam na naman, Brook Lopez is trending down na eh. I think,
for 2 years levels,
na. 4 levels na lang si Brook Lopez, which is for me outside
of 100. Baka nga, better pa si Horford at this point eh.
Hindi naman siguro. I think hindi naman. Pero close. Yeah. Pero outside of that 5, yung mga sinabi mo kanina, George Hill, those players, walang.
Ito. Bobby Portis.
Ayun. Bobby Portis. Yes.
Kasi the starting 5 pretty much most likely they're rosterable in fantasy.
Yes.
Yung assuming na makabalik si DiVincenzo, pero pag hindi, baka maybe Rodney Hood will have a little value or si Grayson Allen. A little.
Those specialist lang siguro or parang streamer lang, streaming value.
Pero Bobby Portis siguro is one of the players sa bench na would have value here.
Kung ano yung last year natin, he was rosterable last year eh, the whole time. Di ba?
Kasi di ba we value Bobby Portis because of the lopsided garbage time points. So, dun papasok si Bobby Portis.
And wala namang other big man ng Miami except si Semi Ojeleye, which
si Milwaukee.
Milwaukee pala. Si Semi lang naman ang bagong big. And so, I think Bobby Portis will be the first big off the bench.
Yeah.
So, he's gonna be safe. Baka nga I would prefer him over Brook Lopez pa.
Yeah.
I think.
Well,
so, yun lang.
Tingnan natin how that...
Yung bigs, wala...
Ang challenge for players like sina Ojeleye, they haven't proven themselves eh. So, ang hirap rin to take a risk of getting them over Brook eh, diba? So, parang ganoon yung mangyayari dyan. For sure, sa draft yan, Brook would still be drafted first and way higher. Malamang hindi madadraft tong si Ojeleye.
Si Portis, I mean Portis. Portis over Brook.
Yan. Pwede pa. And Portis is a solid player, fantasy-wise. New York added Kemba and Fournier, brought back everyone pretty much. They brought back Derrick Rose, Nerlens Noel. Ito, interesting. Point guard position. Derrick Rose, Kemba Walker. They already lost Elfrid Payton. Si Payton went to the Suns, right?
Yeah.
So, ano yung magiging... Pero last year, quickly pa pala, the other player. What would be the rotation like? Is Kemba a winner here in fantasy?
Yes, Kemba is a winner. He's gonna start with Fournier. Fournier will replace Reggie Bullock. Okay, so
Okay,
si
Reggie Bullock wala na rin, yes.
Kemba will replace Elfrid Payton. So those are big upgrades. Kahit ano sabihin nyo kay Kemba, those are big upgrades. And you would, I can imagine Kemba will be rejuvenated going to the hometown, playing in Madison Square Garden. Diba? So this is a win for Kemba. This is a big win for Kemba. Big win.
Fournier
also.
Better role. Well, big win siya considering he came from Boston.
Yes.
So, yung role niya sa Boston was really bad. So, this could be like a Orlando situation.
Yes, Orlando situation. That's what I see for Evan. Yeah. Basically, kung paano siya sa Orlando,
top 70 player.
Maybe 80 times.
70 to 80, yeah.
Pag kinuha mo siya sa 70, masyadong walang upside. Okay. So I don't think you should do that. Maybe at saka hindi popular to pick tong si Fournier.
Yeah. Hindi yan popular pick. Hindi mahilig piliin.
So pwede niya makuha at lower.
Hindi, pero hindi mo masabi kasi ngayon may recency bias with the Olympics. So baka maisip nila na Fournier could be a good pick. But yun, winners, Kemba and Fournier. Anyone from the New York who lost?
Randall.
Derrick Rose.
Randall, the incumbents. The incumbents have syempre may effect sa kanila, especially Randall in my opinion. Hindi na siya one-man team dito. Hindi na yung parang everything will go through him. The assist numbers will go down.
Randall. Where do you pick Randall? Second round?
No. I'll let others pick him. I'll go third.
Third.
The assist numbers I don't think would be there this year.
Okay. So yeah.
And the shooting, you should expect na medyo bababa.
Could be worse. Be worse.
So I'll go third, maybe third.
Kasi siya si Randall would still have that playoff meron pa siyang parang pwede pa mangyari yung how the playoffs were for him, di ba? Bad shooting.
Yes.
Didn't do well, so pwedeng mangyari ulit yun during the regular season. But yeah, third round maybe. Pero malaking upgrade na yun kasi last year he was around 5th, 6th round.
Yeah.
Diba? So, big upgrade na yun for him. Orlando didn't make much move. Indiana didn't make much move kaya hindi na skip na natin. Orlando had Robin Lopez. I don't think he'll be playing there because nandun pa rin si Wendell Carter naman. Baka backup role lang si Lopez here. Philly had Andre Drummond. Wala na. Andre Drummond. Gone are the days.
Unless may injury si Embiid that we don't know about. Drummond, wala na yan. Wala na. At saka, I don't know if Ben Simmons will be traded but I am betting he will be before the start of the season. Pero kung hindi, ang ganda nun. Ben Simmons and Andre Drummond. Di ba? Dalawa ang pwede mong i-hack. Dalawa sabay-sabay pwede mong i-hack.
Di ba? Dalawang, hindi, dati, pag naki-Simmons yung bola, pag nabitawan niya, wala ka nang i-hack. Ngayon, meron pa isang option . Pero, gone are the days where Drummond would be second rounder.
Wala na. And not even maybe drafted . With his Sixers, with him going to the Sixers, I don't think he will be drafted. Dwight Howard was drafted last year. So, in the latter deep leagues already. So, baka doon pwede. Pero in a standard 12-team leagues, no way is Drummond gonna be drafted.
Niang, walang masyadong.
Walang bad. Philly will have to wait what will happen with Ben Simmons. Doon natin malalaman talaga.
Kasi actually, hindi rin natin alam. Baka some of these players might, baka isama dun sa Ben Simmons.
Yes. So, we have to wait for that.
So, kailangan natin hintayin what happens. But ang sure lang yata sa Philly, of course, is Embiid and Harris. Tobias and Embiid.
Yes.
Yun lang yung two sure thing. And
Seth Curry.
Yeah. And they are the only sure players na may fantasy value dun sa Philly, at least for now. Toronto, ito yung kapalit ni Kyle Lowry. Dragic, Achua, and Kemba they resigned. Kemba last year was good, especially sa latter part. I mean, these are key additions to last year, especially in fantasy.
Okay.
Achua showed some glimpse of great upside Pero ang tanong, in Toronto, would he be rosterable in fantasy?
Hindi. Ito nga ang gusto ko pag-usapan eh. Let's look at the lineup. They have Boucher. They waived Aaron Baines. Pero Boucher now, si Boucher nga gusto ko pag-usapan eh. Kasi with Kem Birch in, mas magaling si Birch kay Baines eh. We know that for a fact.
Wala na si Baines eh.
Wala na si Baines. So Kem Birch basically will take the spot of Baines. Boucher coming off the bench. Now you have Precious Achiuwa. You have Scotty Barnes. You have Pascal Siakam.
So ito naman tayo kay Boucher.
Hindi. Tapos we have OG. So, very, very deep ang bigs ng Toronto. Of course, people are saying Pascal Siakam will be traded. So, we have to wait for that. But given current roster configuration, sobrang lalim. So, pati si Scotty Barnes, I love Scotty Barnes. Pero, I cannot pick him with this kind of ganun. Ang gagaling
so, who among
bigs.
those? Boucher, pick mo pa rin?
Oo, pipick mo si Boucher kasi Boucher, I mean, per
fan favorite yan eh, Boucher. OG, of course, sure nandyan. Yeah. So, siguro those are the two bigs lang
Siakam.
na.
Pascal Siakam.
Siguro Kem Birch is still, I think Kem Birch would still have value pagdating sa mga latter rounds.
I do not like picking somebody. Depends on when your draft is. Kung yung draft mo after ng preseason, makita mo ni rotation, pwede. Pero kung wala pa, paano niya hahatiin yung Achiuwa, Kem Birch, Boucher?
Yeah, Achiuwa is young eh.
But they love Achiuwa also eh. They will be giving him minutes. Kasi they've already said that this 2 to 3 seasons, rebuilding eh. They want to develop Scotty Barnes. They want to develop the youngsters eh. Ang mangyayari dito is Siakam should be traded. And we have to wait for that. Kasi may trades pa yan before the training
camp. Matagal pa to.
So if Siakam is traded, then maybe Kem Birch can get value.
Okay.
Pero kung hindi, I would love Gary Trent though. Gary Trent is someone that I would like in the Toronto. Kasi signed to a big contract, wala na si Kyle Lowry talaga. And he will be starting and getting a lot of minutes for them.
Okay. Now, Goran Dragic. Ito interesting, Goran Dragic. Kasi value naman ni Goran Dragic has declined already eh.
Yeah.
Even last year. With this Toronto team, would you rather have Matt Flynn?
Malakay
Flynn over Goran?
No, I don't like them both. Goran though...
guards sila? Yes. Van Vliet.
Van Vliet is the starter and Dragic as a starter nga. For me, people love him because of the popcorn stats. May points, may assists, pero he kills you. He kills you in every other thing. Walang steals, turnovers, field goal. 3-pointers is not that high din. So, for me, Dragic is a no-go for me. Whether he stays in Toronto or he gets traded, wala na for me, Dragic.
Okay, so far ngayon, ang pinakaano pa lang dyan is, ang sure thing is Van Vliet, OG, maybe, and Boucher.
Gary Trent, guys.
Gary Trent, yeah.
Gary Trent. Oh, I like Gary Trent as a sleeper. I like him.
Gary Trent over Norm Powell na ba?
Ako, oo. At this stage.
At this point, Norm Powell resigned with, still with Portland, di ba?
Yes. Kasi volume na lang. Although Norm Powell, hindi siya bumaba masyado in Portland. Yung stats niya, even if he was playing with Lillard.
Kasi he was starting.
Hindi, pero even if he's starting, people will say na, well, yung shots niya will not be as much kasi may dalawang wakaw dun. Pero hindi, mukhang yung attempts niya nandun pa rin. Pero kahit na ganun, Gary Trent pa rin ang mas may opportunity. Yeah. Isipin mo,
when you say sleeper, anong value yan?
Si Trent? Si Trent would be my new Fournier siguro, my opinion.
Okay. So, abangan natin yan. Watch out for Gary Trent. Pero yung Portland side, hindi pa rin yan clear. Kaya pag-usapan natin yan in the next episode. Hindi pa rin clear because dami pa rin trade rumors around Portland. Even Damian Lillard is involved there. Washington made probably had some of the more controversial moves. So of course, Kyle Kuzma, Harrell, na pag-usapan na natin those two players. I'm not sure if you'd be willing to take a chance on Kyle Kuzma, pero ako I don't really like his the upside ni Kyle Kuzma eh.
Ayoko magsalita
Harrell
sa
maybe.
Washington eh. Kasi parang feeling ko may gagawin pa eh. Kasi sobrang gulo ng
Labo, di ba?
lineup eh. Isipin mo, Dinwiddie, Aaron Holiday, di ba?
Oh,
Bradley
yeah.
Beal, let's say KCP,
Yeah,
di ba?
KCP
Tapos
pa.
they have Rui, they have Corey Kispert, which is their first rounder na hindi rookie, medyo matandang rookie na to. Na mataas na pick rin nila. Tapos they have Bertans, they have
yes.
Kuzma, they have Gafford, they have
Harrell.
Si Thomas Bryant though, baka hindi maglaro at the start of the season. Pero pag bumalik yun, that's another center, that's another big.
Yeah.
So
there's no sure thing here in Washington at this point. Bradley Beal and Dinwiddie lang siguro. Actually, Dinwiddie nga, I'm iffy pa kasi galing yan sa ACL eh.
Ito. I'm sure Dinwiddie will be overdrafted because people will say, pucha, starter. And then in Brooklyn, this guy is
yeah, solid, diba? I mean,
pero hindi, guys, look at where he finished rank-wise in fantasy. Even
average, tignan mo na ng average.
Siguro. Even before nung Kyrie pa, walang Kyrie Irving, siya yung star ng Brooklyn, hindi siya nagka-top 100. Ngayon, people will be picking him inside the top 100 for sure. At ang gawin nyo, let them pick him. Kasi I don't think na he will end up in the top 100 in Washington. He will give you the points. Pero walang steals and the other stats, wala.
Saka he came from the ACL. I think malaking factor yun that you have to consider. Even if he's starting, coming from that type of injury is not easy as well.
Yeah, pero feeling ko hindi naman ganun kagrabe. Matagal na kasi yung injury niya eh. Parang nakaka-practice na siya May or June, nagko-practice na siya. So, parang feeling ko okay lang yung sa injury eh. More of, for me, yung fantasy relevance niya, hindi siya ganun ka okay for me. Wala siyang steals, very poor field goal shooter. And 3 points wise, okay naman, may konti, hindi sobrang dami. So, his value is basically points eh.
Yeah. Actually, baka kasi yun nga, tama ka, ma-overdraft siya kasi nga he's a starter now, but in the real sense, baka mas better talaga siya as an off-the-bench player, fantasy-wise.
Yes.
Kasi you'll draft him lower, di ba? At the same time, the contribution he will give you, maganda na for a backup point guard. Kasi not many can contribute that type of numbers for a backup. Kumbaga, if you compare him among the backup point guards, siya na isa mga magagaling.
Yes.
But if you look at the starting point guards, baka nga lamang pa si TJ McConnell dito.
Yeah. For me, Bayamaya.
So parang, I mean, if you're gonna look into the backup point guard roles, baka TJ McConnell ka pa eh. Kahit na starter siya, di ba? I mean, so yun. And TJ McConnell...
Ako, last na sa Washington. Ako naghihinayang ako kay Kuzma talaga. Hindi. In fairness naman, nag-improve siya last year defensively. Parang yung shooting niya mas nag-improve. I think meron siyang something to prove here in Washington. Hindi ko lang talaga alam how they will play him considering nandun si Rui. So, let's see kung meron pang moves.
He's a better 3-point shooter than Rui.
But I've told you before, ewan ko nung episode yun previously na si Rui, I have a hunch na medyo mag-break out to this. Anong time nung guest natin si Charles? Alam ko na si Rui, walang steals, walang blocks, walang defense. Pero feeling ko this year, magiging parang breakout niya in the non-fantasy terms. Mga 20 points, 10, mga ganun. Parang mataas na scoring and rebounding. So, magiging Enes Kanter, parang ganun yung feeling ko sa kanya.
Sige, tingnan natin what happens there. Baka hindi pa tapos tong Washington in making their move. Kasi the team that they have right now is sabog pa eh. Really not even
sabog. Maganda nga eh. Sobrang lalim ng team eh.
Yeah, malalim.
Pero
do you think they're a playoff team with this team?
I mean play-in team. Play-in. Hindi playoff. Play-in.
Playoff sila this year. They made the play-in, yes, pero they were able to survive the play-in.
They have a chance. But last na ba ang Washington?
Yeah, last na.
So pag tingnan natin yon, let's say, we'll just round it up. I think,
tama, maganda yan. Sige,
let's start with Brooklyn, syempre number 1. I think Milwaukee remains number 2, and then Miami number 3.
Yeah.
Now Atlanta and Chicago and New York, these are the 4, 5, 6, and Boston. For me, Boston took a step back. So for me, nasa 4, 5, 6, 7, yan pa rin. Itong Chicago lang napasok dyan. So yung 8, 9, 10 mo, basically, will be the Washingtons, the Indianas, and the Charlotte.
New York pa.
Hindi, yun na New York. Atlanta, Chicago, New York, and Boston. Yun yung 4, 5, 6, 7. So, yung alam mo naman na Cleveland, Orlando, saka sino po pa? Cleveland and Orlando, magpapatali yan.
Detroit, wala na rin yan.
Detroit, wala rin yan. So yun na. Diba?
Philly. Did you mention Philly?
Oo, Philly. So, Philly, Atlanta, and nandun yan sa 4 down.
Yeah. So, yun. Tama. Brooklyn, Milwaukee, Miami, and then Philly, Atlanta, and then maybe
Chicago, New York, Boston, Charlotte.
These are the teams na.
Indiana.
Pero Indiana pa. So at least nabawasan siguro yung mga medyo bulok na teams here.
Washington yung 11.
Yeah. So medyo malalim na rin yung East. Pero we'll see what happens. Matagal pa to. I mean, the off-season is still beginning or the start. Pero marami pang pwede moves na mangyari. Plus, the rotations. We have to see the rotations, how they will be. But, yun, that's for the first part of the free agency signings. We'll talk more about the West in the upcoming sunod na episode after this. But for now, hope you enjoy this. Hope you like this. And nagsimula na rin kami. Marami nagtatanong when mag-start for us to get into the league sign-ups for the fantasy benchmark. Inayos pa namin because we want more leagues, pero we'll see how we'll manage all the leagues. Kasi ayaw rin naman namin ng more leagues nga, pero hindi naman well-run yung leagues, diba? Sayang din. So we'll fix it baka within the week. Next week, maayos namin yun. Alright? That's it for the weekly episode. Next week, the next episode, we'll talk about the West. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you like it. Please follow us sa YouTube. Subscribe na kayo ngayon pa lang kasi para pagdating ng season, you'll get the daily updates naman from us. Alright? We'll see you again in the next episode. Bye, guys.
Bye.